for every known and established business out there, there are probably tens or hundreds of startups that are trying to make it. Now, don't get me wrong, I've done startups and some of them will fail, or maybe a lot of them will fail, but one or two of them will make it.
What's digital excellence mean for you?
Yeah, no, thank you. Look, it's definitely a high order, right? And in the end of the day, if everybody could achieve it or it was easy, we would have, many more super successful companies, and probably a lot of us would be out of work, right? We would be paid
Yes.
the big. But essentially, it's an amalgamation of different facets and dimensions. It all starts with, customer centricity and commerciality, getting your strategy right. Subsequently, if you think about it as a flow, once a strategy is set, then how you discover and solve the right problems, how do you build the right solutions for the right problems, and then how do you enable in the right way the market back to your customers. And obviously, to achieve all that is a combination of the right talent, the right process, the right frameworks, but just relentless customer centricity and putting your users and the humans at the front of what you do. And let me tell you, through the course of my career, I've made some mistakes when we were too far ahead of the market, right? So I remember a time when we built for the Australian market back when I came to Australia, right, from England. We were building a new portfolio management solution for all the big banks. The legislation had changed, and we had incorporated comprehensive credit reporting in Australia. So if you know what that means, is um, essentially before 2016, we were all keeping history of defaults and adverse actions on someone's credit file. But 2016 onwards, we had a wealth of new data around positive history, repayments, and keeping a track record of a lot more data. And I came from the UK and the US, and we had a mission to build the first solution that combines and leverages all this data. And what we found out, for example, was that the market wasn't ready, right? The banks were not ready to adopt. It took us 1 year to build the product, but then 3 years to get the major banks on it. So back to your point, 100%, you got to be in tune with what the customers want and what the market wants. You can't be further behind, but you can't be too far ahead. How you stay in this optimal range of looking ahead but not being too far ahead, I think it goes back to how many touch points and how efficient and effective your touch points are with your customers in the market. Personally, the way I do this and the way I accomplish that with my team is every conversation and every data point is an opportunity for learning and growth. So every customer we go and see, even the angry ones, right, the ones that have very critical feedback for us, is just a great opportunity to derive that insight and turn it into feedback. Now, the tricky part in this whole process is when you have no data points, or when you have too many data points and you don't know what to do with them. And I see a lot of companies struggle from, hey, look, we are data illiterate, or we don't have enough infrastructure to understand and keep track of how our customers engage with us. But then I see a lot of companies in my career where they just overdo it. They put amazing pipelines and engineer amazing methods to keep track of every customer data point and behavioral insight, but they get so hung up into every little optimization point within their ecosystem that they forget to go out there, talk to the customer. And at the end of the day, you got to be able to empathize with them and understand the business better than them. These are the few dimensions that I'll throw there.
I'm curious how you coordinate those two aspects of you, the sort of intuitive sense of being in a business for a long time and what's needed, but also the dangers of being too subjective in your thinking and not open to new ideas and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, excellent question. Look, I've been around the block for, I don't know, maybe 20 plus years of career now in product and tech and whatnot. And it's a funny journey that product people and product professionals go through, which is they start from just a very junior, I guess, professional where they driven by a little bit of insecurity, and all they want is just grasp a couple of data points and validations to do something. Then as you progress in your career, you start to abandon your gut feeling and go and say, hey, look, I'm just going to build amazing touch points and leverage all these algorithms to understand, optimize and analyze how I best approach my customers. And then what I found in myself is that as I matured and grown is I started to go back to my instincts and my gut feels. And I'll tell you why. I'm a scientist at heart, right? I believe in data, I believe in algorithms, I believe in analysis, but the data will only show you what you can optimize with what you know. What I mean by that is you attract a certain type of customers, or you have a certain slice in the market. All that you're seeing is probably a bias of the customers you already have. And when you try to optimize from within, the boundaries are usually there 5, 10, 20, 25%. To really break those boundaries and attack, new markets or new opportunities or greenfield development, you just got to go outside your comfort zone and sometimes take risks. So what I would say, Peter, is when you run a portfolio of products, I think there needs to be a healthy and deliberate calibration of, the done and tested, what keeps us afloat in market. But then if you want to go and risk, you have to take bets that are outside the comfort zone of what your data can show you. And this is where you need a little bit of instinct and gut feel.
So I'm hearing you there, Andres. You can't play it safe all the time. You've got to sometimes push the envelope, try something, be prepared to fail, but then step back and try something else. But you can't just do the proven and known, because you'll fall behind those who are more courageous, perhaps.
It's true. And big businesses or established businesses in Australia and around the world, they have to remember, for every known and established business out there are probably tens or hundreds of startups that are trying to make it. Now, don't get me wrong, I've done startups and some of them will fail, or maybe a lot of them will fail, but one or two of them will make it and they will disrupt you. So you got to keep disrupting yourself from within. But again, back to the different businesses and portfolios. If you run, I've done, let's say, credit scoring for banks. So redefining the algorithms of how every individual in Australia gets an approval, a credit approval, right? Can you fail there? Probably not. You got to be much more careful with, how you test, how you validate, and the risk tolerance of what you take to market. A domain, when it comes to consumers and user experience, for example, when you have an end-to-end SaaS experience, you have a much larger tolerance of experimentation and failing fast and iterating. So again, it goes back to the business model and how deliberate you are with failing and how quickly you can catch it.